Hi, I'm Alex Howard, and welcome to this week's episode of In Therapy, where we follow real people on their therapeutic journeys. This week, we're catching up with Sally from season 1. I know a number of you have been commenting and wondering how she's getting on. So it's a great opportunity to see how the work that we did originally continues to ripple and impact in different places in her life. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, click the bell icon to be notified as new episodes are released, and do follow my Instagram at Alex Howard Therapy for daily inspiration and support. Over the last 2 years, Sally has made some brilliant progress in her recovery from chronic fatigue. Despite battling difficulties at work, the loss of her mum, and a difficult relationship with her stepdad. This is the first time I've seen Sally in person in over a year, and I'm looking forward to seeing how she's been getting on.
I can't believe we're actually here in person.
I know, it's been so long.
It's really nice to see you.
And you.
So you sent me an update email, but run me through a little bit more. So let's start with work changes.
Yes.
So you got a new job. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
How are you feeling about it?
Really, well, scared because I've been where I am for nearly 6 years.
Yeah.
So it's like a big change. But really, I am really excited. It's a really good opportunity. So it's...
And it's work from home exclusively?
Yeah, fully remote.
Wow.
Yeah, which will make a massive difference to my symptoms, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I said in my email to you that I almost already feel a little bit better knowing that I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really weird.
How long have you got left?
2 days.
Oh my God. Like end of this week, basically.
Yeah, 2 days, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so I don't know, it feels like a bit of a weight has been lifted.
Yeah.
Which is just ease things a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sort of letting things go, and that's helping, I think, and not taking so much on and carrying it with me. I think that's making a big difference.
Did the job happen easily? Did you have to go and work hard to find it? Like how did that come about?
No, so I was just on my laptop doing some of my course and I just thought I'll just have a little look for some HR jobs just because I was on the computer. And I saw this advert for a job, not this job that I've got, but it was a HR advisor role. And I looked at the job description and I was like, I'll do all of that now.
Right.
So I actually applied for that job, updated my CV to match that job and applied for it. And within like half an hour, a recruitment agent rang me and got put forward for an interview, and interview went, and I genuinely just went for the interview to see if I could do an interview still. It was like a little bit of a hobby kind of thing. Like, I'll just do that.
But that's quite good because it also means you go without too much sense of pressure and expectation.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Because the worst thing to do is to go for an interview desperately wanting to get a job.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, the job that I actually ended up getting, I was so nervous for the second interview. I was so nervous.
Because you wanted it.
Because I really wanted it. Yeah. And my husband was like, why are you putting yourself through that? Just to see. And I was like, well, I haven't had an interview for like 6 years.
Yeah.
You need to sort of get those muscles working again, I suppose.
Totally.
So they kind of wanted to offer me that job, but it was 40 hours and I said, I work 30 at the minute. I don't really want to go more than 35, and they just wouldn't budge. So I was like, okay, bye.
Does that feel quite good though, to walk away and go, this is like, because I think you of old would have said, oh, well, they want 40, so I'll do 40.
Yeah.
And there's something about you saying, this is what I want, this is what I need, and I'm going to make that happen.
Yeah, that was quite a revelation, actually. I was like, no, that's fine. There'll be other jobs.
Yeah.
Thank you. I did sort of feel at that point though, oh my God, I'm never going to find a job that I'm going to be able to do because people want 40 hours. And then I started looking again, and there's so many employers out there that are offering flexible working. So I went for another interview. Yes, I went for another interview for a different job, HR manager job. And again, I thought, I'll just see what happens. But throughout that interview, I don't know if you've ever had it where you're in an interview and you're like, I really don't want this job. I sat there in front of the person interviewing
I've never actually done a job interview.
I don't suppose you have, no.
No, that's not true. That's not true. I worked at a health food store for a summer. But I've done one job interview and I got the job, so I got 100% success rate.
But yeah, I've had that a few times, but I was like, in the interview, just thinking, this doesn't match my sort of ethics, and it's just all wrong. The match is all wrong.
I've certainly been in plenty of meetings where I'm like, I don't want to work with this person.
Yeah. So I didn't get offered that job, and I was really relieved because I didn't want to have that awkward, I don't actually want the job.
Don't actually like you.
Conversation. don't want to work with you. And then that was then, it was sort of third time lucky with this one that I've got. So it's fully remote.
And is there an office you can go to, or is there like a sense of like they get people together for some sort of team elements?
No, I was saying to Oliver earlier on that the HR manager for the US, I had my first interview with her on her own, and then second interview was with her, and then the UK HR manager. And she said she's got like 30 members of the team, and she's met 2 of them by mistake, like by accident, like just at the airport or something.
Oh my God, wow.
Yeah, so no, nothing at all like that. I think we're going to probably meet up because the HR manager works and lives, she lives in London.
Okay.
And the other HR advisor, I think he's Northern. So I think she wants us to meet.
Because that's nice to have just a little bit of contact.
Yeah. So I think we're going to meet up at some point. But other than that, it's just fully remote in my spare room.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how do you feel about being at home all the time?
Really good.
Yeah?
Yeah, really good. I think it'll be a big sort of culture shock to begin with, but I'll have loads of things that I need to learn, like the systems and things like that. So I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, and I think often what happens in time is people work from home and then go, actually, I need to get... So you can also pop out to coffee shops and, find a local gym and go swimming, like whatever, like find other buildings and places to go to. But it sounds like also for the last bit of the healing journey, to just be able to really listen to your body, I think is going to make an enormous difference.
Yeah, I do as well. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Where are you in terms of symptoms, energy, that side of things?
Pretty good. I was saying earlier, actually, I had a really good pre-bed nap last night.
What's a pre-bed nap?
Have you not had a pre-bed nap?
Well, I don't know what it is.
Oh my God. So you fall asleep before you go to bed.
You fall asleep on the sofa?
Yeah.
My wife does that every evening.
Pre-bed naps are the best. It's like you've got extra sleep.
I basically have to, if we're watching a show in the evening, I basically, after about 9:30, have to check her every minute or two, because at some point she's just going to do that. And otherwise, the next night she's like, so what happened? I'm like, you mean you missed it? So I know all about pre-bed naps.
Pre-bed nap, yeah. So I had a really good pre-bed nap yesterday, but I think that was because I had 2 people crying on me yesterday, and it was quite draining. So I think that took it out of me a little bit. But generally, I'm pretty good. Yeah. I can't remember a day where I've really crashed. Can't remember the last time that happened. When we went to Spain, there was a couple of days, because we were going through my mum's belongings, that I'd done a little bit too much and I just felt a little bit tired. But I was saying to one of my friends that apart from those 2 days where it was only like, I'll have a little bit of a rest and then I felt better. The rest of the week I just felt completely normal.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Where would you say the edges still are? Like, are there places that you go, I better not do that and that? Or, are there places you're still kind of protecting your energy? Yeah,
definitely. I do find that, like, stress definitely makes me my nervous system tense up. I can feel it. Or if I'm running late, I hate being late anywhere. So if I'm running a little bit late for something, like work or whatever, it'll make me, my back will start hurting and things like that. But when you said about coming down for the session today, I thought, well, I can work till 1:00 and then just come down after. And I wasn't sort of worried about that.
It wasn't a thing.
No, it wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to start doing more things outside of work and try it. Because normally if I do something on the weekend with friends or whatever, I'll say, can we do it on a Saturday? So I've got the Sunday to recover. But that isn't often convenient for everyone. So I've said, in a couple of weeks we're doing something on a Sunday instead, and I'm not kind of worried about it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I think that difference as well of it's not just having a job which is going to fit your needs in terms of kind of listening to your body and rest. It's also having a job that you feel excited about. Like for pretty much since we started working together, it's been, yes, there's been challenges in terms of your physical energy at work, but there's also been so many challenges in terms of dynamics and kind of politics and people, and that just never feels good for anyone. I mean for anyone to be in an environment where you just don't feel supported and you feel like you're the one that's kind of constantly rescuing and supporting others. I think just changing that dynamic is going to make a really big difference as well.
Yeah, I think so. And like, was it yesterday evening? No, yesterday morning, I had a message. The boss had gone in before I started later yesterday. And she sent me a picture of something that someone had done. And it was like, Sally, what the fuck is this, basically? And I was like, I am not going to miss that. Something I was meant to be starting work later. So on those days, take Phoebe and Travis for a nice walk. And I put something in the slow cooker before work and things like that, just chilling out and relaxing. And then to get a message like that. And then last night, I think it was, a message at like 10 to 8 and then another one at 3 minutes to 7 this morning.
Which I assume was not, how are you doing? Have a good day?
No.
Like some sort of drama.
Yeah, some sort of drama, yeah. So that's just constant.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be good to not have that.
Yeah. I'm excited for you.
Thanks.
I'm really excited. And I think also, you've worked hard for it, you know, between doing the course and putting yourself out there, which wasn't easy with everything else that's been going on. So well done. I'm excited for you.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So tell me about Spain.
Okay, so this is the first time that we went there since my mum died. Yeah. So I've not seen my brother. It was nearly 2 years since I've seen him.
That long?
Yeah.
Wow.
So November 19 that I last saw him. So obviously November 19 and then the pandemic hit.
Yeah, because it was March. It was April time, was it last year? Your mum passed? May.
Yeah, that she died. So prior to that, my stepdad and his new family had been there. So we were going to go in August, but then he said, "Oh no, I'm going there now." Not that I wasn't speaking to him myself, but my brother said, "No, he's actually going there with his new family."
And your brother's been living in the house, right?
Yeah, so he's still living there now.
Yeah.
And there was like 7 of them that went there for like 3 weeks in August, so that delayed it again. So yeah, we went over there. Not last week, the week before, for a week, which is interesting. So the house has been on the market for ages and he wants a ridiculous amount of money for it, so he's not going to sell it anytime.
And is that a deliberate strategy on his part? Or does he wants the capital, I assume?
He wants the capital, yeah.
But he's being greedy.
Yes, yeah, and very unrealistic, which is bided us some time to get over there and go through some things.
Or attempt to go through some things.
Some things. So loads of decluttering. He was, in this incarnation with my mum, he was a prepper. So he would literally...
What do you mean in this incarnation with your mum?
Well, because he's just a new person with every different person that he's with. He's completely different now.
Wow.
So
he was buying up loads of food and
canning up tomatoes that he'd grown down in the little farm and things like that. Literally, you'd look under the bed, there was cans. In the wardrobe, there was cans literally everywhere. So all of that had gone. My brother had helped with that previously as well. Loads of just tat and just accumulated crap. But my brother was sort of also, he wasn't doing it himself. He was getting all of his new family to do it for him. And my brother was sort of looking in the rubbish bags that they were going to throw out. And one of the things that he stopped from being thrown out that he found was my mum spent literally years on our family history. And there was folders that, her mom and her dad's side of the family with literally my granddad's and my grandma's real birth certificates. Like I haven't even got my real birth certificate. So these documents are over 100 years old.
Wow.
So she'd obviously collected all these things and paid extra for copies and stuff. But like the death certificate of my mum's sister who died when she was 17 was in there. So he was going to just throw them away. And my brother said, well, Sally might want to go through these because this is our family history. And the response was, what would Sally want to do with all this? And he's like, well, just leave them because they're really important. So that was one thing he stopped being thrown away. But
it's like he's trying to erase any kind of record of that part of his life, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's a kind of sort of out of sight, out of mind. It's too painful, and I'm now doing this. I'm just going to get rid of all of that.
Yeah, just get rid of it all.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I was really looking forward to going over there to look through and sort through was Mum's clothes, because she had some really lovely dresses, and he'd thrown everything, every single piece of clothing that she had. It was like I opened the wardrobe and it was full to bursting when she was alive. Like you couldn't get anything back in it because it was so full, and it was just all empty hangers. And I was just looking at it, just sobbing, because more so than the jewellery, that was her personality, that was her.
Yeah.
And I was so mad and upset, and I was like, why couldn't you just left it? Because we were literally there the 25th of September, like a month later.
There's also something that's very intimate about someone's clothes, isn't there?
Yeah.
It's like that really kind of holds and captures their essence, that they've worn those clothes and they've chosen those clothes and they've celebrated events in those clothes. Like I understand why that feels precious.
Yeah. So there's that, and I also wanted to go through the jewellery that obviously we've spoken before that nothing was actually left to me in the will, but she wanted me to have a jewellery, and I knew that there was some things missing. And later, like that was literally the day that we got there, and I had a little nap because the flight was like at 6 a.m. It was so early, so I was really tired. So I had a little nap, and I was just like, I need to have a look at Mum's jewellery, and a whole jewellery box was just empty. So I don't even know I know one or two things that were not there, which we discussed before, my grandma's locket and stuff. But I was just like, where the hell what? I have no idea what's not there. I mean, I've since gone through it, and there's actually some really nice old stuff in there. But a lot of it is from my grandma and even her mum. So it's not some of the things that that were actually my mum's are gone.
And he's sold it, or he's dumped it, or you just don't know?
I did suspect that a gold jewellery set would have been gone, because obviously the price of gold is really high, which I thought he would. He bought that for her as well. But there's other bits that definitely weren't there. And said to my husband, I was like, I need to message him about this. And he was like, what's the point? And
because he wasn't there while you were there, right? He'd been and gone.
He'd been and gone literally the day before.
Right.
He'd left. And my husband was like, what's the point? He's only going to lie to you. And I was like, me before would have gone, that's true, actually, there's no point. But I didn't. I messaged him and I just said, where's my mum's clothes? Because very shortly after my mum died, he promised me that he'd leave them so that I could go through them. And I said that. I said, you promised me that you'd let me go through them, and whatever I didn't want to take, I would take to the charity shop. And he said that, these were his actual words, he said, the house needed decluttering and I've given them to the needy. And I was like, well, I could have given what I didn't want to the needy. I wasn't going to take everything. There was only going to be a few bits. It was just lies after lies after lies. And I said, I know that there's some items of jewellery missing, like this locket. He said, I don't know anything about that. I'm like, well, it was there before you got to have a look at the jewellery boxes anyway. And just lied to me. So, but at least, I did.
Did it feel better to express how you felt?
Yeah, definitely. Because I wanted him to know that I knew what he'd done.
And also for the little girl in you that's angry in her that she misses her mum, and this was her hope that she would have this way of connecting, she needs to express how she feels.
Yeah, completely. Yeah.
Do you feel that you got to say everything you needed to say, or you got to say a bit of what you need to say?
I think I did say everything, because I was like, I wanted to make something nice, like even if it wasn't dresses that would fit me, that I could have made some cushion covers. I couldn't, because I'm terrible with things like that.
But you could have had made.
Could have had made into cushion covers, and I'd put a post on Facebook and I hid it from him because I don't want to get into that drama. But it was somebody had made a quilt out of their mum's clothes, and I said I would have loved to have done this.
Yeah.
But all of my mum's clothes were thrown away, and somebody that I used to work with said, if you've got anything at all, I'd be so happy to just make something for you. And I was like, I'm so, I don't have anything, literally nothing. But one of my friends, I'd messaged her about it, and last week, was it last week? My mum liked a certain style of dress by this dressmaker called Lindy Bop. It was like 50s, 50s style dresses. And my friend had bought a dress in my size from them, even though they've actually gone into administration.
Wow, bless them.
Yeah, I opened it, it was just like a mess.
That's so sweet.
So nice.
Yeah.
So, and she said, you'll always have her memories and stuff. So
it's a very sweet thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah, so nice.
Yeah. How do you feel with your stepdad now? I mean, clearly a lot of things, but as we talk about it, what's the primary feeling that you have?
Angry.
Yeah.
I'm just really angry at him because he's, been my dad essentially for 15 years or whatever, and he's just forgotten about me now. And just, I keep, I would tell people the things that he's done. I'm like, you think he's done as much as he can do to hurt us, and then he does something even more monstrous. You just think, what the hell?
Well, he's not in touch with the impact of his actions on anyone else, right?
No, not at all.
So there's a kind of disconnect. So he's just doing, and I think what's probably particularly difficult about it is it doesn't sound like there's necessarily malice in what he's doing. It's not that he's not trying to inflict pain.
No.
But in a sense, it might almost be easier if he did, because you've then got something to grapple with. But in a sense, it's just this continual path of sort of selfishness and disregard and disconnect. But then you're on the receiving end of the consequences of that.
Yeah, that's exactly how he is. I don't think, like you say, he's not doing it on purpose just to say, oh, fuck Sally, let's do this and piss her off. He's just completely oblivious to everything. He's always been a bit like that. My mum was the only one he'd listen to, and she'd keep him in his place and stuff. But without that now, I mean, part of me as well thinks, what kind of person is this other woman? Any other woman would know that a daughter would want to go through her mum's clothes.
But he may be a different person to her than he is to everyone else. For all we know, she could be as lovely as your mum. we just don't know.
Yeah, she could be really nice, but like I say, he's a new, different person now that he's with this new person.
Like he reinvents himself each time.
Yeah, it's like Madonna.
I'm interested in that anger. And we obviously spoke when we were doing our regular sessions together before, spoke a lot about your relationship to your feelings and letting yourself have your feelings. And I think part of that's the reason why you've got so much better at boundaries and standing up for yourself. Like you mentioned in your email to me that you took a day off sick because you weren't feeling well. And there was something about, actually, I'm not going to go in. And whereas in the past, you would have just completely soldiered through.
Yeah.
It really feels that the embracing and the allowing of your emotions is allowing you to also feel your strength, which I think is really great. And it sounds like there's a piece here where it's not yet fully worked through.
Yeah. I don't know, like, I could have shouted the house down when I saw that wardrobe was empty, but I didn't.
But you let yourself cry.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, actually, David was asleep actually on the plane, and I was just sitting there thinking that on the way over there, that this is the first time I'm going over there. My mum's not going to be there, so I just sat there on the plane crying. But
it's good that you let yourself have that emotion.
Yeah.
Did it feel? It's a very strange question. Did it feel good To let yourself cry in that way?
Yeah, because I don't feel ashamed of it anymore.
Good.
And one thing that I don't ever want to go through again was bringing my mum's ashes back, because I had to get a certificate. I had to get a certificate of cremation, the death certificate, and then I got a letter from the crematorium saying whose ashes they were and whatever. And they're really rude. People in the security bit at Alicante Airport are so rude anyway.
Really?
And I was thinking, oh God, this is going to be an absolute nightmare. I speak enough Spanish to order a drink. Do you know what I mean? So not that
Not
I've
enough
got
to
my
explain your mum's ashes.
Yeah,
They don't do that at GCSE, do they?
No, I didn't cover that far. And I had them in my backpack, which is just a really weird thing for me to do anyway. And I was just dreading it, and I think I was getting myself worked up about it. And my husband went through no problem, and I was like, I need to give you this letter. And the guy just said, go over there. And I was like, okay. And then my bag went through the x-ray thing, and then he said, what's in there, to the person that was looking at the monitor. And then one of the scary policemen, so they have local police in Spain, but they have the Guardia, which is the scary police. They're like the proper police. And one of the Guardia had to come over and look at my letter, and I was just standing there like tears falling down my face. And I was just like, oh, please let this be over. Don't stop me coming through, because I was thinking, are they going to stop me going through? And then what happens? But anyway, it was fine. But I was just repacking my bag afterwards. I was just crying like in the middle of the airport. But it was good, because before I would have just hidden that away.
Yeah, it's emotionally honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was bloody horrible though.
Yeah. And feeling your emotions like that at the time means you don't then end up bottling it all up.
Yeah.
And then, having a migraine or feeling exhausted, or remember we've talked times in the past around not understanding why you've got symptoms, and then realizing there's a bunch of emotion that's not been metabolized. So as much as it was difficult, it's also emotionally honest and true. Like, you're flying to see your mum, to see where your mum lived for the first time in 18 months, having died 18 months ago, or 2 years almost that we've been there.
Yeah.
It's appropriate to feel sad. You're coming back and bringing your mum's ashes, and it's like, it's appropriate to, that's the healthy, as much as it might hurt, it's the healthy response.
Yeah.
But it sounds like there's still some anger.
Yeah, probably. I don't know, just all the things that have happened, it's been fucking hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I never really thought about it, but my husband said, your brother let that happen as well.
Yeah.
Which I don't want to be mad at my brother, because he's gone through so much as well.
I think it's that very difficult thing sometimes when one doesn't let themselves feel anger at someone because they rationally understand that he's autistic and he doesn't know how to do it differently and it's difficult for him, which is all true.
Yeah.
But to the little girl inside of you, she's also allowed to be angry at him. Even though the adult in you knows he's not done anything wrong, the little girl just wanted him to protect what you wanted.
Yeah, and he is my big brother as well, so he could have just fought a little bit harder to keep those things for me.
Yeah. It's like, I imagine part of how it feels is, who's looking after me and what I want.
Yeah, he's having a house paid for him, and he doesn't want to rock the boat too much. But if that was me, I'd have just said, put them in a bag, I'll take them upstairs to Mark. He's got a whole floor that he could have just put them there for a week. But now they're just all gone. Something that I'll just never get back. And I don't know if it sounds stupid, because they're just clothes.
But they're not just clothes, are they?
Like I wasn't able to go to a funeral, didn't get to say goodbye, nothing, not even a dress.
What do the clothes represent to you?
It's her personality, like, and it would have smelled of her, even though the house stinks of fags. Like, bringing back the jewel, like what jewellery there was, my husband wrapped him up in a pillowcase, and I've bought myself like a nice jewellery box to put them all in. And it was like a Tupperware container that he'd put them in for me. And like I've kept that pillowcase and sealed it back up again because it just smells of her.
It was like your last bit of connection to your mum, is what those clothes represented, right?
Yeah.
Your last chance to sense her, to feel her, to smell her. And it was taken away.
Yeah.
And what do you feel as we talk about it?
Just really sad.
Mm.
It's just, I don't know, obviously grief lasts for ages and affects you for years, but it just seems like it's being dragged out like normal people get to go to a funeral 2 weeks later.
There's a ceremonial process that doesn't naturally evaporate the grief, but it helps the process of moving through it. And each step of the way, you've been robbed of those moments. And I think it's appropriate that you feel sad, you feel angry, you feel disappointed, you feel let down, you feel unsupported. That's all true, because I think that's how it is.
Mm. Yeah.
How does it feel for you to give yourself permission to feel those feelings? Like, you're talking very openly about it. You're letting yourself have the feelings as we're talking about it. How does it feel for you to be showing up for you?
Quite cathartic and good, because I never used to do it.
Right. Say more about that.
I don't know, it's just, like you say, that bottling up, like I've done that forever, bottling everything up, and obviously that's a massive thing that impacts my symptoms and stuff. So it is really good. It's like a release to just let yourself feel it. And one of the people that was crying on me yesterday was someone that had their dog put to sleep on Sunday, and she came in on the Monday, and she's like, I thought it was okay, and she was literally sobbing, I just miss her so much. And I said about what you'd said is the only way through grief is right through the middle. You've got to feel it. You've got to feel feelings and stuff.
I love it. Great. You're quoting me. I like it.
And I said, when my mum died, I had a week off because that's what you're supposed to do. And then I went back to work the first day, and I got through that. And then the next day it just hit me like a train.
I remember, yeah.
And I said, everyone's different, and, you might feel like you're coping, or you feel like you can get on with normal life, but it just comes in waves. And I said about the grief ball and the box and things like that. And you've got to feel your feelings, because otherwise you hang on to it for so long. Yeah. So it does feel good to do that.
Yeah. And you notice also how, even though it can feel painful and it hurts and it's like, and there's tears and there's anger, there's something that's ultimately, there's a relief in it.
Yeah.
Right? There's something that's also being really truthful with yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, like the whole ashes at the airport thing. There's no way I would have just cried in the middle of the airport in front of hundreds of people before. Not that anyone was particularly looking at me, because we all had masks on and stuff anyway, but I wouldn't have let myself do that. I just would have swallowed it and carried on before. Yeah. But, just...
And probably then got symptoms a few days later.
Yeah. And actually I thought, because travelling is obviously it tires anybody out, doesn't it? But I didn't have anything, the next day or the days after or anything like that, because I think, like you say, I'm getting so much better at just feeling what I'm feeling and going through it. And it was it wasn't as emotional as I thought it was going to be, because I think I'd thought about it for so long that I'd cried about being there with my mum not there, not in the kitchen, doing whatever. I'd cried about that before that happened. But it was weird, the last night that we were there, and I just thought, this is the last time I'm going to be in this house, like a second home, which is really weird. That was a bit emotional. But yeah, it just, you feel that feeling, then you move on from it, don't you? Instead of it just clinging onto it.
Well, that's the thing. It's almost like emotions are like waves in the ocean. Like the wave comes in, and sometimes it's a fucking massive storm and a load of waves. But if you just let it move through, at some point it settles, and there's a peace that comes on the other side, which is different to the ducking, the diving, the fighting it, and it either just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, or it just buries, waiting to explode at another point. Whereas this way, you're actually processing it. Yeah.
And this thing, getting a new job, not the other person that was crying on me yesterday, she's got quite a few chronic conditions, and I'm not having a good time of it at the minute. And she was crying, saying, I look at you and you've got it all together, and you just get on with it. And I said, yes, I'm at work and getting on with it, but you can't compare yourself to me and whatever. And I said, something I've thought about this new job is that if I'd have got a new job, I don't know, a year ago or something like that, I would have been, I've got a new job because I can't work anymore. I can't do a normal job.
It would have been a sense of defeat.
Yeah. But I'm like, I'm taking charge. I'm doing this because obviously we've spoken about, the environment of that place anyway. But like, I'm doing this to be able to live a better life and not, the symptoms are so much better now anyway, but I'm doing it so I can do things in the evening and the weekend. And
also it's like, it's one thing to get to the point that you can work full time in a normal environment and be fine with that. But I don't think anyone would have done the job that you were doing and be healthy, because the environment was unhealthy.
Yeah.
There was a kind of toxicity in the culture and sort of way things were happening. And it's like part of your self-care and your standing up for you is to go, I deserve better than that.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go out and I'm going to make it happen, which is exactly what you've done.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm this illness isn't running me, I'm running this illness. I'm not having it anymore.
But it's also having got to a point in the healing journey that you're resilient enough and you're strong enough that you can have that confidence as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel so much stronger than I used to now. And, doing all the work together and everything, and being able to have that energy to do that course,
right,
in the evenings and weekends. And I couldn't have done that at the beginning of my journey with the clinic. And, that gave me confidence to look, even though I was doing those jobs anyway, like stuff that I've learned on the course, I've used in work. And it's like, I'm nearly there, I'm like 75% of the way through it now, and I really want to get it done by Christmas. But if I don't, it's okay.
Yeah. There's no achiever pattern happening there at all.
No. Not here. I would like to get it done by then, but if I don't, I've got until March, and that's fine. And the fact that I've got this job before I've even finished the qualification is really good as well.
They clearly believe in you.
Yeah.
Where are the anywhere there's challenges, or anywhere we've got a little bit of time left that you want to talk through or put some spotlights on?
I don't know. I suppose going back to the thing about my brother, like, and being angry about that. I should say that to him, or I don't know.
I think it's tricky. How severe is his autism? Because I think that's a part of the jigsaw.
Well, he refers to himself as a high functioning autistic, and you wouldn't read. He's got some quirks, I would say. Like, he does suffer from OCD, so he's constantly washing his hands, and that's a control thing. And but he's had a job, and worked in a bar for a little while. I think he'd be absolutely. I don't really think of him as being autistic, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Although he is, because of some of the behaviours that he exhibits. But, you know, like I say, everyone knows him in the village. He goes out and he's not the life and the soul, but he...
Do you feel that you want to say more about it, or do you feel that there's a difference between what you need to say in the relationship and managing how you feel? Because how you feel is a lot more than his behaviour. How you feel is really at your stepdad and that whole kind of list of things that has happened. But your brother, in the moment you most needed him to, didn't step in and protect your interest, in a sense. So I guess the question is, what do you feel that you need to have some resolution with him?
Probably.
And how might you do that?
I don't know. Because it's that whole thing of, I don't want him to feel bad again. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel bad, so I don't want him to feel bad. He does know that he's let me down already.
Yeah. Is there anything that he could do or could do differently in the future that would make you feel better?
I don't think so, because everything that could have happened has happened now.
Okay.
Like, there's literally nothing left now. Well, there is, actually. There's some things we took in our suitcase, and then there's a box, or big boxes worth of loads of photos and, like, cine film from my granddad and his sister. And we found, like, my granddad was a rear gunner in a Lancaster bomber in the war.
Wow.
So we found his logbook and was reading that. And I found, actually, my mum's sister died in a car crash when she was 17 in 1962. And I found her diary from 1961/1962.
God, wow.
And it was so interesting. She was 16, 17, and she was going on all these dates and standing loads of boys up.
God,
and
wow.
She was working, and it was so interesting. It's just a shame there wasn't anything like that of my mum's.
Yeah. And have you taken those pieces?
I've taken the diary and things like that. There is still some bits that it was just too heavy to take.
So I think the conversation to have with your brother is to say, I've been devastated by some of the things that you know, stepdad, or whatever you guys call him, has not protected or has thrown away or has taken. And I was particularly upset over the clothes. And I know that you didn't realize how important it was, but it was really important. And these other things and anything else that comes up, I would really appreciate you doing anything you can to protect those things for me. So it's less about making him feel terrible about what happened, and it's more about explaining how it's made you feel and what he can then do with that.
Yeah.
So it gives him a place to go with it, as opposed to just feeling bad about the history. I think that's how I'd handle it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Because in a sense, what you're feeling with him is unsupported and unprotected. And it sounds like he needs very clear direction and instruction, but he is capable of doing that.
Yeah.
And I think that will allow you to feel that at least he's got your back.
Yeah.
Which is what I think you're ultimately feeling is, apart from your husband, like, who's got my back? Who's looking after my interests?
Yeah.
How about your stepdad? I mean, we could send the letter bomb, but...
Well, I did... It might be a bit childish, but I did take a few of his things...
Oh, Sally.
from the house as a ransom. So when he next goes there, he'll find that some of his items are missing, and if he wants them back, he'll have to send me some things back.
I'm not getting involved in this side of it.
Get involved in that one. But honestly, like, there's no.
But I do
reasoning.
want to ask you, did it feel good?
Yeah.
It sounds like it did.
Yeah, it did. I'm like, well, I'm taking them then. But I wouldn't have taken, like, just, I don't have been worth anything, like, just pocket watches and things, like, and a couple of his Vietnam badges from his uniform and things like that. Like, there's a really nice canvas of all of his kids on the stairs. And I was like, I could just get rid of that. just to spite him, but I wouldn't do that because I know how much that would mean.
And you don't want to lower yourself to his level. Your life doesn't improve by going down to where he is.
No. And I just thought that's the difference. Like, I know that would mean a lot to him, and he would hate for that to go. So I wouldn't, like you say, I wouldn't stoop to his sort of level.
You know, also hate in that sort of way. There's a place to own your hatred. But hate in that way is like swallowing poison and hoping the other person dies. Yeah. It's like you've got to live with the toxicity of knowing that you've done something that actually is not in your values. Yeah, exactly.
And I said to my husband, I was like, that's the difference. I would never do anything like that because I know how it would feel. I do know how it feels.
Yeah.
But there's literally no talking to him. Like, everything that I've ever said to him, it comes back to me with lies. It's like, you can't argue with stupid. It's like, I can't reason with...
Dishonesty.
Dishonesty. There's literally no point.
And the truth is, you wouldn't work with someone like that. You certainly wouldn't have a relationship with someone like that. And you wouldn't have a friendship with someone like that. The problem is, you didn't get to choose it.
No.
You know, and that's where your boundaries, your self-love, your standing up for yourself, your self-advocacy is so important. And your pathway to that is letting yourself have your feelings, your emotions, and going, I'm fucking angry and I'm devastated and I'm hurt and I will not let him do anything else to me. And that's where you have your brother stand up for you and you stand up for you.
Yeah.
And you're nearly done with him.
Yeah. Yeah, as soon as he's out of that, my brother's out of that house, that is it. Bye.
Yeah. And I think you are doing great. You know, you're letting yourself have your emotions. You're doing the best you can. It's a difficult situation and you're getting through it. And I think having the celebration of your mum's life is going to be really important.
Yeah.
And taking the time to plan that and really be present to that, you know, it's not the final step in the healing, but it's a really important piece in the healing.
Yeah. Yeah, got loads of ideas for it. Like this. Do you remember she had a really big Twitter following?
Yeah.
You know, there's someone that when Facebook was down that night.
Yeah. Very well. Yeah. Supposed to be doing a Facebook Live.
Oh my God, yeah. And I was like, oh God, okay. I wouldn't say I was addicted to social media, but you just pick your phone up, don't you? And you just have a look. So I was like, okay, I'll go on Twitter then, and LinkedIn.
There were some great memes on there, weren't there, as well?
Yeah, so good, yeah. And I actually found a thread where somebody had mentioned my mum in a tweet, and then a really nice thread of loads of people saying, oh, you know, I really miss her. She's such a lovely lady. So I wouldn't have seen that if Facebook hadn't gone down. And through that, there's somebody that lives in the next village to where they lived. And I said, oh, we're going to have a celebration of life. And, you know, would you like to come? She's like, oh, I'd really love to come to that. So I think quite a lot of people might come to that.
Wow.
And I want everyone that's invited to think of, like, you know, a song or read out a memory about her. You know,
maybe you can broadcast it live on Twitter.
Yes, I did think that. Yeah. And I want everyone to wear something with purple in it because her favourite poem was "When I'm old, I'm going to wear purple."
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, so I've got loads of nice ideas for it, and we'll scatter. I'll go back with half of her ashes, but that'll be an easier side because it's English.
Yeah.
You know,
you can explain.
I'll explain. I'll be able to explain, and you know, please don't be mean to me. So yeah, I've got loads of nice ideas for that, and scatter the rest of her ashes up at there's a bar that you can see the sea and things like that, where she used to take the dogs for a walk and stuff. So yeah, that will be good. And it won't be a sad thing, it'll be nice, nice.
Well, it'll be sad and it will be a celebration.
Yeah.
Do you have any other questions for me?
Don't think so.
I feel like this is sort of like your graduation moment in some ways. Really? Not to say that we're necessarily done and we can still be in touch, but I feel really proud of you for how obviously your healing journey has been challenging in its ways, and you've done amazing there. But particularly the journey that you've been on with your emotions and the way that, you know, it's just what you're describing is just hard. Like it's the stuff in life that hurts and it's difficult. But the fact that you've let yourself have the tears, you've let yourself have the anger, and it does make it easier, but it doesn't make it easy.
No.
But well done.
Thank you. And now I'm even quoting you to people.
God forbid. Sorry about that.
Oh, thank you.
Good, Sally. Well, it's obviously been a real joy to work together, and I hope we'll stay in touch. And this doesn't have to be our last session. It's just the fact we're here in person for the first time in a year. It's just, I just wanted to speak to that as well.
Yeah,
so
thank you. Yeah, thanks so much for your help.
Good. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Good. All right.
Standing ovation.
It's like our first graduation in some ways, isn't it?
I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of In Therapy. It means so much to me to see the participants doing so well. And although this is, of course, not the end of Sally's therapeutic journey, it's the end of our planned sessions together. And it means a great deal to have people that have been so brave to commit to be part of this process, have their lives impacted in positive ways. The challenges of life don't end, but hopefully we're a little more equipped to be able to deal with those challenges along the way. This is also the last episode of In Therapy for 2021. Thank you to those of you that have been following along the way. We are super excited for In Therapy in 2022. All kinds of ideas, plans, and ways we can develop and evolve the show. If you've missed any episodes, it's a great chance to catch up in the whole library of episodes that we've filmed so far. You can go back and follow Sally's journey right from the beginning. We're going to be having a break next week, but we'll be back on Tuesday the 11th for the next episode of In Therapy. Thank you again so much for being with us on the journey this year.